Alright, after reading the Wrath route, I do have to say something. This was shaping up to be the worst if chapter, but luckily it turned out to be the best. As the story unfolded more and more, it kept getting more interesting. First, I want to get this off my chest and tell you why I felt like I wasn't going to like this chapter at first. At first, I found this if so goddamn convoluted. I don't know if it was just me who couldn't read, or was it the way that it just was in the chapter structure, but I'm going to blame it on the chapter structure. I couldn't understand or couldn't read anything that was going on in the chapter at first. The way the chapter was structured was throwing me off. Then I didn't like the dialogue and the way that it was flowing. Everything just felt off at first. It was so bad I was at the point of where I think it was at chapter 3, and I just stopped reading, and I just looked at myself and said, what the fuck did I just read? Because I did not remember a single thing that I had read previous, like at all. So I said, alright, I'm gonna take a break, wait till I'm in a different and better headspace, and come back. I did exactly that, and I enjoyed the chapter far more. Nevertheless, that's the intro. Let's get straight into what happened in the If chapter. Also, hello, gotta get that off. How you all doing? But let's get into the chapter. The chapter starts off in the beginning of Arc 2. Subaru is being choked to death by Ram when suddenly she passes out. Come to find out, she has passed out from all the wounds that she had got from the mob beast while chasing Subaru. Subaru then grabs a rock and smashes her in the head. This event created the monster we know as Subaru. So after a 2-year time skip, Subaru becomes part of the Mafia. Well, he actually creates the Mafia. My boy becomes a Don. The next part of the story brings us to the mansion. Within the mansion, we have 2 events. Frederica versus Puck was just sad. Not sad because I hated seeing Frederica lose. It was sad because I felt pity. I felt really bad for her. The fact that she thought she could take on Puck was just laughable. It was just sad. It's like, you have no chance and you still gonna fight it? Okay. And then as for the other event in the mansion, we have Roswell versus Cecilus. Oh, Cecilus? I'm gonna say Cecilus. Before I say anything about the fight, I just want to put in my quick little thought right here. It was nice seeing Roswell break down again, much like he did in Arc 4, just because I find his character so fascinating. So just seeing the way he is written, I love it, and it's just a nice little refresher of how well he's written because of the idea how he clings so much to Ram. But as for the fight, I was shocked when Roswell got his arm cut off, especially since he dodged the attack initially, but that was a good display showing off Cecilus because he took down the #1 mage in all of Lagunica, and I think the world. Am I right on that? I don't know. I'm pretty sure Roswell is the #1 mage in the world of ReZero. However, this shows that Cecilus is nothing to play with. To move on to the next part, we have Beatrice. I don't really have much to say on this. I only have 2 things. One is the dynamic and interactions between the 2. It was a different vibe I got when reading their interaction. It was much different from how these 2 usually act. I like the somber and sort of depressing interaction. Just something different, you know? So I found that very interesting. As for the second thing I want to say is, finally, Subaru said it. I have been waiting 3 If chapters and an entire arc, pretty much, just for one chance, just for one moment of Subaru finally saying that he is they. That's all I ever wanted. That's all I ever needed. And you all know how I feel about the they situation if you watch my other previous videos in terms of the arc reviews and the other If chapters. You know I just do not like the whole situation when it comes to Subaru surrounding the they idea. But I was so happy that he finally just said, yes, I am they. I mean, it didn't really matter because at that point he killed Beatrice already. And so it really didn't matter. But it was still nice to hear it. At least I got to hear it. It'd been better, you know, if it's in the present timeline or the correct timeline, main story, and you say, hey, I'm they. Whoopee. But at least I got something here. So I'm happy with that. I'll take whatever I can get. Moving forward in the story, Amelia is captured and Frederica becomes the maid for Subaru and his thugs, or his mafia, his gang. Now, I don't want to go in detail on the next part because what they talked about I didn't really care too much for. And what I'm talking about is when the old man or the old merchant came up and was talking to Subaru and everything, and his whole ordeal with Frederica. But what really got me interested was the coin flipping of Subaru. When this started to happen, I knew at this moment Subaru was my main character. The ruthlessness, I need this Subaru in the main story. I was so hyped because flipping a coin and letting that decide the fate is just such a badass thing to do. Also, it reminded me of Two-Face from the scene when he was in a car with that guy and he flipped a coin and the guy he wanted to kill lived, and he flipped again, but the guy driving the car died. And you all know what scene I'm talking about. I'm way too lazy to edit it in, but you all know what scene I'm talking about from The Dark Knight. Great movie, by the way. Has nothing to do with anything, but just had to say that. Great movie. But that scene was so epic, and then Subaru flipping his coin was so epic, so I just loved it. It's just like the mind games you have to have while the coin is just flipping. That is like some truly psychotic, murderous type stuff, and I love it. Especially if you know me, and I'm the type of person that loves like psychotic and crazy, chaotic characters. So I'm really down with that. So Subaru turning out this way was just phenomenal. Going a bit further, Subaru became known as the Purge King. And the just listen to that name, Purge King. Because the amount of bodies Subaru has is just ridiculous. And this is, well, I was gonna say it's more than the Pride route, but I doubt that because he went through 10,000 times that he died, I think it was. But Subaru became my main character, and he became something that I wish he would become in the main story. We also focused on Emilia, and it was at this moment I started to see a bit of a syndrome happen within her. I'll talk more about it later. However, now that Emilia is locked up, Subaru uses her as his fetish lap pillow, which is like, huh? It's like, what? Like, I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words. That is so creepy. like that is so creepy. But I get it, I guess. Moving on further in the story, after the word got out about Roswell's death, the magnificent man himself, Reinhardt van Austria, was dispatched to dispose of Subaru and his gang. Once arriving there, Reinhardt is forced to face off against Cecilus. And hearing, or well, technically reading, Reed be unsheathed. Oh man, I wish Reinhardt was more prevalent in the story, like in the main story, so I can just see his skill, see Reed pop out more. Just like, oh, I want more Reinhardt, because all we got from Reinhardt is a little snippet in Arc 1, which is like, yay, like of course it introduced him, so I loved it, of course. And then we see him again in Arc 3, which he doesn't do anything in Arc 3. He like stops old man Rom from taking Felt, but other than that, he's just non-existent. Then we see him in Arc 5, which is just, oh, Arc 5 is so amazing. I love it. And then Reinhardt's part in Arc 5 is just, neither here nor there though. Neither here nor there. I'm in Arc 6 and there's no Reinhardt. I'm upset. There was no Reinhardt. In Arc 4, I'm upset. There needs to be more Reinhardt van Austria within the story. I'm just saying, Tepe, make it happen. Throwing focus back onto Emilia, Emilia leaves the room from all the ruckus that Reinhardt and Cecilus started. While running out, she finds a wounded Reinhardt, and then on top of a wounded Reinhardt, he gets an icicle pierced through him. Like, why? They got to do my mans like this. Like, why, Tepe? Why do you have to hurt him? When Reinhardt tried to get Emilia to leave with them, she said that she was staying and is going to protect Subaru. I mentioned this earlier. I said something about Emilia having a syndrome. It was here when I finally knew Emilia had Stockholm Syndrome. And for those who don't know what Stockholm Syndrome is, basically Stockholm Syndrome is a syndrome when someone is captured and they begin after a while to turn in the favor of their abuser or capturer. So even though Subaru did this bad thing by taking her and locking her in their home, she thought it was fine because after a while her mind conditioned her into believing that this was the right thing and that Subaru was correct. I thought this was a great aspect to explore for Emilia's character. It was very interesting, and we kind of sort of seen this. Anyway, next Reinhardt gets into a fight with Puck and Emilia runs over towards Subaru. Subaru and Emilia meet. At this moment, even though Emilia poured her heart out to Subaru, that didn't matter. She turned gray and became nothing to him. Now, Subaru being colorblind this entire time I thought was a dope concept to introduce. It's a very good way to show how he sees the world and how much someone means to him, and when that person is cut off they turn to black and white. So I really like that aspect. Getting away from Amelia, Subaru ran into the secret room. In this secret room we have Ram chained up. Quite a shock to see Ram there in the end, but she asks Subaru is he basically ready to die, and then the story ends, and that is it for the Oboreru Wrath If route, which I completely forgot to introduce in the beginning of this. But I hope you all have enjoyed the review. I have no idea what other videos I have planned. Actually I do know, but hopefully I don't get lazy and don't upload them or make them. I do have something very interesting, and also I do have one video that I really am looking forward to putting out. But I hope you all have enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe for more ReZero content. And the anime is 2 days away from me recording this, so I'm stoked, I'm hyped. We back, baby, so I can't wait. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you all have enjoyed, and goodbye.